guys, I'm Michael from eKids.
Hey there.
And now we are studying the Old Testament.
Woohoo!
And I'm really excited about it because, Jesus in the New Testament, when he was asked, what's the most important thing about the Old Testament? This is what he said. He quoted something from Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5. And it says this.
Wait. Hold on.
Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 5.
I get it.
It says, "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might." Let me read it again. "You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, and all your soul, and with all your might." So what I want you to do as you watch this video is see if these characters in the story, see if they loved God with all of their heart, all of their soul, and all of their strength.
Wow.
So check it out. Guys, so I want to tell you about the story of David and Jonathan. First, we have to catch up just a little bit. We already learned about David and Goliath, right? The story continues. What happens is Saul becomes, kind of jealous of David because David ends up fighting wars, for Saul and doing a really good job. And people start thinking David is awesome instead of saying, "Yay, Saul!" What ends up happening here is Saul starts to come up with these really weird plans to kind of fix this. He kind of wants to kill David. He's got this weird plan that he wants to marry David to his daughter, Michal. I know that sounds weird. Why would you want to kill someone and marry him to your daughter? But the thought is, the Philistines that they're still fighting, they would want to kill David even more knowing that he's married to the king's daughter. So Saul says, "Hey David, check this out. To be able to marry my daughter, you have to go kill 100 Philistines. That's the price that you have to pay to marry my daughter." David's like, "Okay." And he goes and kills 200. See, Saul thought that David would die trying to kill these Philistines, but he doesn't. He actually succeeds. So Saul's like, "Oh no, I was trying to kill off David and it didn't work." So now he is married to Saul's daughter, Michal. Saul has a son named Jonathan. And see, David and Jonathan become really good friends. So this whole story's weird because David is married to Saul's daughter. He's like best buddies with Saul's son, but Saul wants to kill David. So let's listen to this story here about Jonathan and David straight from the Bible. So check this one out.
1 Samuel chapter 20. Then David fled from Naioth at Ramah and went to Jonathan and asked, "What have I done? What is my crime? How have I wronged your father that he is trying to kill me?" "Never," Jonathan replied. "You're not going to die. Look, my father doesn't do anything, great or small, without letting me know. Why would he hide this from me? It isn't so." But David took an oath and said, "Your father knows very well that I have found favour in your eyes, and he has said to himself, 'Jonathan must not know this, or he will be grieved.' Yet as surely as the Lord lives, and as you live, there is only a step between me and death." Jonathan said to David, "Whatever you want me to do, I'll do for you." So David said, "Look, tomorrow is the new moon feast, and I am supposed to dine with the king. But let me go and hide in the field until the evening of the day after tomorrow. If your father misses me at all, tell him, 'David earnestly asked my permission to hurry to Bethlehem, his hometown, because an annual sacrifice is being made there for his whole clan.' If he says, 'Very well,' then your servant is safe. But if he loses his temper, you can be sure that he is determined to harm me. As for you, show kindness to your servant, for you have brought him into a covenant with you before the Lord. If I am guilty, then kill me yourself. Why hand me over to your father?" "Never," Jonathan said. "If I had the least inkling that my father was determined to harm you, wouldn't I tell you?" David asked, "Who will tell me if your father answers you harshly?" "Come," Jonathan said, "let's go out into the field." So they went there together. Then Jonathan said to David, "I swear by the Lord, the God of Israel, that I will surely sound out my father by this time the day after tomorrow. If he is favourably disposed toward you, will I not send you word and let you know? But if my father intends to harm you, may the Lord deal with Jonathan, be it ever so severely, if I do not let you know and send you away in peace. May the Lord be with you, as he has been with my father. But show me unfailing kindness like the Lord's kindness as long as I live, so that I may not be killed. And do not ever cut off your kindness from my family, not even when the Lord has cut off every one of David's enemies from the face of the earth. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, May the Lord call David's enemies to account. And Jonathan had David reaffirm his oath out of love for him, because he loved him as he loved himself. Then Jonathan said to David, Tomorrow is the new moon feast. You will be missed, because your seat will be empty. The day after tomorrow, toward evening, go to the place where you hid when this trouble began, and wait by the stone easel. I will shoot 3 arrows to the side of it, as though I were shooting at a target. Then I will send a boy and say, Go, find the arrows. If I say to him, Look, the arrows are on this side of you, bring them here, then come, because as surely as the Lord lives, you are safe. There is no danger. But if I say to the boy, Look, the arrows are beyond you, then you must go, because the Lord has sent you away. And about the matter you and I discussed, remember, the Lord is witness between you and me forever. So David hid in the field, and when the new moon feast came, the king sat down to eat. He sat in his customary place by the wall, opposite Jonathan, and Abner sat next to Saul, but David's place was empty. Saul said nothing that day, for he thought, Something must have happened to David to make him ceremonially unclean. Surely he is unclean. But the next day, the second day of the month, David's place was empty again. Then Saul said to his son Jonathan, Why hasn't the son of Jesse come to the meal, either yesterday or today? Jonathan answered, David earnestly asked me for permission to go to Bethlehem. He said, Let me go, because our family is observing a sacrifice in the town, and my brother has ordered me to be there. If I have found favour in your eyes, let me get away to see my brothers. That is why he has not come to the king's table. Saul's anger flared up at Jonathan, and he said to him, You son of a perverse and rebellious woman, don't I know that you have sided with the son of Jesse to your own shame and to the shame of the mother who bore you? As long as the son of Jesse lives on this earth, neither you nor your kingdom will be established. Now send someone to bring him to me, for he must die. Why should he be put to death? What has he done? Jonathan asked his father. But Saul hurled his spear at him to kill him. Then Jonathan knew that his father intended to kill David. Jonathan got up from the table in fierce anger. On that second day of the feast he did not eat, because he was grieved at his father's shameful treatment of David. In the morning, Jonathan went out to the field for his meeting with David. He had a small boy with him, and he said to the boy, Run and find the arrows I shoot. As the boy ran, he shot an arrow beyond him. When the boy came to the place where Jonathan's arrow had fallen, Jonathan called out after him, Isn't the arrow beyond you? Then he shouted, Hurry, go quickly, don't stop. The boy picked up the arrow and returned to his master. The boy knew nothing about all this, only Jonathan and David knew. Then Jonathan gave his weapons to the boy and said, Go, carry them back to town. After the boy had gone, David got up from the south side of the stone and bowed before Jonathan 3 times, with his face to the ground. Then they kissed each other and wept together, but David wept the most. Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for we have sworn friendship with each other in the name of the Lord, saying, The Lord is witness between you and me, and between your descendants and my descendants forever. Then David left, and Jonathan went back to the town.
David and Jonathan. This is Jonathan,
Hey!
who was the son of King Saul and a warrior in Israel's army. this is David,
Hey.
who would later become the king of Israel.
Alright.
After David defeated a great giant, he was brought before King Saul and he met Jonathan. They immediately became friends,
Yeah.
and Jonathan made a pact with David and showed him that by giving David his robe and weapons.
Oh, hang on.
From that time on, David was successful in all he did,
Hey.
and King Saul became jealous of David and very angry. Saul wanted his servants and Jonathan to get rid of David, but because Jonathan loved his friend David, he warned David of what his father was planning.
Oh,
Jonathan went to his father, King Saul, and talked him out of harming David.
no. Okay.
For a time, David was safe from King Saul's plans,
Phew.
but not long after, the king's jealousy and anger came back, and he tried to kill David.
Whoa.
David got away, and his friend Jonathan came to help him.
I got it.
Jonathan tried again to talk his father out of hurting David.
No.
But now King Saul was convinced he needed David to be gone. Jonathan was angry and sad that his father would not let his friend go. And he knew that David would have to go into hiding and run from King Saul. Jonathan met David one last time, and the two cried and said their goodbyes. Jonathan told David to go in peace and that they had a special bond in God's name. Then David left and lived a life on the run from King Saul, and Jonathan returned to the town. Even though they were separated, the two were the best of friends and were an encouragement to one another.
Yeah.
So, what did you think?
Wow.
Did these characters really show that they loved God with all of their heart,
Yep.
all their soul,
Yep.
and all of their strength?
Yep.
What do you think? And you know, just as importantly, what about you? What can you learn from these characters to see how you can love God with all of your heart, all of your mind, all of your soul, all of your strength?
A good point.
How can you love God with everything you have? All right, guys, that's all I have for you this week. Love you. Bye.
See ya.
You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and with all your might.